Okay, can you see anything?
Yeah, I see YouTube.
Excellent. All right, so let's start now. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to probably the silliest meeting we've ever done. I don't even know how I should refer to you because we're going to keep an anonymous approach. So, hi, I am the voice that narrates the southbound switching layout, and I have a non-trained guest with me today who knows nothing about trains. So I thought it'd be fun for us to look at a video of trains and hear his opinion and discuss things as we do that. Did you want to say anything about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I can be referred to maybe as the novice train guy. So we'll see what I did a little bit. I did a little bit of research on some train terminology, but just a couple words here and there. So either way, it's going to go well.
This was actually a video dedicated to a single person that watched the last video of this. And so I thought I'd dedicate this entire 37-minute video to him. I don't even know if he's seen it or not. And not a lot of people have seen this because it's way too long. Like, they get to a certain point and they're just like, and they just pass out. I thought the interesting thing about this video was that I used 4 cameras. I used 2 smartphones. You can see one here and one on the other end. I used a Canon SLR, which to my surprise, even though the quality of the picture was fantastic, really difficult to use. And this shot here is done from a 10-year-old point-and-shoot camera, which has got an amazing lens, but the quality doesn't seem to be that great. So yeah, I thought I'd do 4 cameras instead of me constantly pausing everything. Here's the SLR. As you can see, I don't know how to actually focus this thing. I have to say that we've come at a point in this digital era that smartphones are actually pretty impressive with what they can do.
And I love looking at what I'm looking at here. There's that one that's pretty far back, and you get a sense of the size of the actual set and what I'm looking at. So what exactly, what's the purpose of what's actually going on right now from the actual, mechanics of the train, track, and what's going on?
You don't know about trains, so I mean, it's kind of like, I guess I don't even know how to explain it. So I don't know if you're familiar with that game that they play on your smartphone called Unblock Me. And it's basically a whole bunch of like little blocks of wood. They're virtual blocks of wood, and you always have to try to give one to slide out. And in a way, this is that game. So you come in with a bunch of freight cars, and you're supposed to exchange them for what's already sitting there. So the 2 tank cars near the caboose that you see at the end of the train would replace the 2 hoppers that are under the camera at the very end. And then these 2 box cars in the middle hopper replace the ones by the warehouse. So, I mean, this is a lot more simplified, and it still took 37 minutes to do. But it's a simple swapping in and swapping out. I mean,
well, that was a big moment right there. So something just happened that, like, someone just stabbed the train.
I pulled out a barbecue stick and I stabbed the coupler, and I uncoupled the train. So what I'm going to do now, I'm following, apparently, that's the best part here. I don't fully understand the rules of trainology, but what I did here is that I left everything there because these are the trusted freight cars. I know the brakes work. And so from what way I understand it, I made it kind of like a rule of the game. Any freight car that you come with, you can trust the brakes. And so you can couple things up that you don't trust. And anything that's already on the playing board, I guess, would be considered a non-trusted piece. So you always have to make sure that if you leave them by themselves, you leave them by themselves with something that you can trust.
I'm having recollections of, what is it, the Green Giant, where the giant hands would come in and move the furniture.
Yeah.
Things like that, if you've ever seen that. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the Green Giant. We just need that little weird puppet to show up from somewhere. I thought it was actually kind of amusing. I was talking about this process with one of the doctors at work, It turns out that there actually is I forget now what it's called, but there's some kind of treatment that you can do. And the way it works is that you take memories out of long-term storage, you talk to them about it with the doctor. As you do that, you also have to focus on the moving object while talking about the traumatic experience, but your brain cannot handle doing both. So it's able to follow the object, it's able to talk about it, but it's not able to actually recall the traumatic emotions. When you're done talking about it, you store your memory back in long-term storage, and part of your PTSD or trauma is actually removed. So now that memory, traumatic as it was, is not as traumatic. And the more times you do it, the less traumatic that memory is. It's kind of strange as a process.
Okay, so that analogy you're using in what we're seeing right now to a degree?
Yeah, we're focusing on the train moving back and forth, and I don't know if talking to me is a traumatic experience, but I'm removing the trauma and I'm making it very enjoyable. Well, I don't know about enjoyable, but definitely not as traumatic as it could possibly be.
So how true to reality is what we're watching? Like, this scenario would play out in some train yard somewhere?
Okay, so again, I'm not a train, I don't know trains really that well. I don't really even spend that much time looking at real trains. I like toy trains like these ones here. I do follow an author that publishes books about trains and the how to build setups like this. So if I'm following his literature and he's supposed to be an expert, I'm pretty close to realistic, even though this is a toy, let's not forget. I am following slow speeds. There's a lot of things I mean, but there's no giant barbecue stick that comes from the sky. There's also apparently lengthier pauses that are supposed to happen. I'm not doing any of those things. So I'm literally just, here's the giant hand in the sky. I'm coupling. I mean, there would be an actual little person doing that. But yeah, so what I enjoy is the switching part. So I'm kind of bending the rules to my liking. I like to think it's pretty close, but there's also the fact that I don't really care. My fascination with this hobby is the speed. Like, I like slow, realistic. I don't want the go-kart kind of feel. I want something nice and slow. I want when something starts to go, it starts to go really nice and slow. And there's going to be moments where you're going to see this train accelerate and it feels like it's taking forever to actually go anywhere, but that's kind of like the feel that I'm after.
Yeah, with the train sets that go, round and around, if you're going to have one of those really fast-moving model train sets, this is more your speed.
This is
versus
more
that.
I don't like the the jackrabbit train that's flying around the corners at warp speed. To me, it's more the slow, methodical, almost meditative approach to watching a model, and then you have that pause for yourself where you can kind of get lost in thought as it travels back and forth, kind of thing, right?
So any one of these cars here, how long does it take to get? I mean, does it come out of the box looking like that? Do you have to do anything to it, paint it, anything like that?
It depends really on the model. All of these models came out of the box as you see them. Some of them I made a few changes, very minor things, like I've made the wheels less spinny. I know it sounds weird, but I don't like the fact that it's kind of hard to explain. So when you go couple up with a train, because these trains are they're intended for being pulled, not for being stopped and pushed around like I do. You need to add a little tension on the wheels so that the coupler spring is less strong than the tension on the wheels. Because if the spring tension of the coupler is stronger than the tension of the wheels, when you go to couple, you're just pushing it. You're not actually connecting to it. And I know it's strange, but I only own a few chess pieces, if you want to put it that way. So I like going that extra step and making sure they run perfectly well the way I want them to run, kind of thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh, here we go. I finally figured out how to focus the DSLR So it's just I don't know how don't know how to shoot video with a camera, like a photo camera. So maybe that's part of the problem, is that it's not really meant to do that.
I don't know if I'm more impressed with the train set or the actual camera work. The fact that you have this many cameras going and you're cutting, to each different spot here. It's actually pretty interesting. It's pretty cool to see that part of it where, the train set's sure, but that part of it too, it's almost like the patience required. It's just all patience I'm looking at.
It ultimately is an exercise in patience. Although filming with 4 cameras actually makes it a lot easier, except for the fact that half the cameras would not work all the time. I used the audio track to synchronize the video, and then I just basically selected the clip in which the train was showing, and then if clips were more than one clip where the train was showing, then I would alternate between them. So for example, in this one here, I'm focusing from the furthest camera, now I'm focusing on the phone, and then I might switch to the SLR, I think. I don't remember what I did here. Let's see if it does it or not. Apparently I didn't want to change the camera angle here.
This might be my favorite view here. I like this one.
Yeah, this one's nice. This is like directly into it's also crisper. I find that the 2 smartphones actually do a better job. This is the SLR, but again, it's not, maybe it was too high. I should have had it lower. I don't know, like there's still a lot I gotta learn. Like this feels way more realistic, like you would see this off a bridge kind of thing.
Right.
Well,
right.
The other one is more of an overview, I guess, but it's not that great of a shot. So not as cinematic maybe as this shot here.
So the intention is, someone who's watching this video right now would say, they're probably a trained person. They've probably said something like, they've been listening for so long at this point. Should we say maybe like, what's our favorite car here? I like the blue one. I don't know if that means anything.
I like the gray one that's, you can't see it right now. It's way back down there. Behind, here it is on the left here near the silos. That's one of my favorite cars. I just like the shape and the color. I can't tell you anything about this car other than the fact that I think it's a hopper, and I think that's where you would put it. But I'm playing a game, and I'm sure some of these cars don't even get delivered where they're getting delivered, but I hope you'll forgive my poetic license, I suppose, or artistic license to do as I please kind of thing. It's like actually kind of funny.
Captions, like nothing happened. No, reading the captions, like nothing happened.
Yeah. Nothing happened. Like I apparently I don't even know how to drive a train, as you can see. Kind of funny, in June there was actually a train meet that I was invited to with other YouTubers, and I won't deny I got a little excited to be invited with the big boys, and I don't know what I was expecting. I drove an hour and a half to, I don't remember where, West Ontario, and there was a bunch of people from YouTube, and they all kind of mingled with whoever had the most I guess views. It was kind of strange. I felt that it was more of a competition who had the biggest drone, and then it was more of an excuse to be like, hey, look, I'm hanging out with this popular YouTuber, so I'm cool too, kind of thing. And then everybody else that wasn't really as cool was kind of left there lingering. Having said that, though, I did meet some pretty cool people on that, I guess, meet, and some of them I'm still in touch with today. So it's interesting to see also how they do their own videos, and they do their own modeling, and they do things that are way bigger, way more complex, and a lot of what they do I really still don't fully understand. Like there's all these rules and how trains are supposed to operate and things like that. I don't really have a lot of space to.
There's a train underworld, is what you're telling me. There's like this underworld of like train etiquette and train people who I had no sense of. I know more now than I did 5 minutes ago.
Well, it's the thing is, I think every hobby or every interest probably has some kind of underworld that we don't understand. Like I thought I like cycling, for example. And I thought I was fanatical enough to understand enough about bikes, but there's people that know way more, and they do a lot more, and they have way more bikes than I know what to do with. So there's always going to be, you're always going to be at that entry level, I suppose, whenever you hit a new interest, and there's always going to be somebody who does it way better than you do, kind of thing.
Sure. So is there a top train person that you're aware of? I mean, it can't be that hard to find who's got the most hits in a train video on YouTube, or maybe it is. I don't know what to search for.
I don't know if I would base it on a number of, I mean, I guess you could say if he's got N numbers of followers, maybe that's what makes him successful. But I think it's more about, maybe I would judge him more on philosophy. Ironically enough, the person that inspired what I'm building here is a British model. He goes by the name of Mog, but he's not extremely active. Like, he's got maybe 6 videos over the course of 5 years. You know, he's got other interests and he's got other things, but the way he presents it, the way he speaks, I think that a British accent makes everything better. Doesn't matter what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can fake one, but I'm not going to do that.
I can't even fake proper English, never mind a British accent. So, but he does it legitimately. He's probably really from the UK, and listening to him talk, I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. So I don't know if it's because he speaks with a British accent that I'm biased, or he genuinely puts together a good product, and it's about quality, not quantity in this case, right? There's some YouTubers that I find that will publish a ton of stuff almost daily, but it's not like it's anything worthwhile at that point, right? So I don't know if they're going for volume just to get the likes and the clicks and the views at that point, because it seems a lot of what I'm watching is more based on the interest of getting promoted, so you get the advertising, so you get that advert money, and moving on from there, right?
Right.
So I think
we need some advertising, some models or something in the background for extra hits.
Right. Or some of them are, for example, actually receiving the product from the vendor, so they have a vetted interest in maintaining the status quo with them, right? So they're going to talk positively about the products. I fortunately don't have, or unfortunately, I don't know. I don't have these relationships with anybody, so I feel that I can still speak freely about the way I feel about certain products. So I did that with my second last video. I kind of ranted about shoddy product making, and you know, I was surprised actually by the positive feedback that I received on that. But if you are somebody who makes your living reviewing products that the vendor is sending you, it's in your best interest, of course, to speak positively about them. But then, are you really being a reviewer, or are you doing just lip service for your own financial gain? So it's really a matter of when do you sell your soul, and how far okay are you with that? So, but I'm not here to judge or criticize. Everybody does what they want, right? I mean, that's the beauty of YouTube. Oh, there we go. Camera 4 fails. The number of times that camera failed on me, so it only records for 8 minutes and 34 seconds. Not 30.
Oh, and that's it. I'm trying to keep track of what's happened so far, and I'm trying to think back to where we started. And I know that oil, I guess that's oil, the dark ones on the left there, those have been sitting there for quite a while, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I know that the ones, yeah, those two are shown up, so there has been some movement. It's not as if nothing has happened. But I'm having a hard time trying to figure out where we went.
It's hard to figure out what's going on because everything's moving so slowly. It's taking forever. Like this video is almost 37 minutes long to literally move 5 cars. It's kind of ridiculous. So what's happening right now is that we finished swapping out the cars at the factory or the warehouse, and then we went to pick up the 2 hoppers that were under the camera at the end. And now what we're doing is, because from my understanding, the rules are you don't want to have tank cars near the engine in case they blow up, I'm assuming. So what you want to do at this point is that, since I cannot really leave all the cars that are coupled with the engine right now by themselves, because those are not trusted pieces because they were already in the playing field, I am carrying all the freight cars that I pulled out of the warehouse and swapped out. So you see the blue car, the green car, and the hoppers that were at the end underneath the camera, so I can pick up the tank cars and then go drop them off where the hoppers were to complete my full swap. And it makes more sense maybe if this video was like 5-10 minutes long. But when things are moving this slow, like the only person that really knows what's going on is either the person playing or very devoted viewers that understand how all of this works. And again, I'm not claiming that I fully understand how the rules work. I'm just going based on what I understand the rules to be. So who knows how far truthfully I am. Okay, so watch this start. And not the best, but you see how slowly I like it to take off? Like this is the speed. In fact, there's a scene here that I actually miss. Yeah. Pro tip, always check for a successful couple. So just so you know, you should always make sure that.
Oh, you left without it being coupled.
Yeah, I thought I did. I take a certain degree of pride in having couplers that perform spectacularly, but not always. Especially when you're recording, that's when they usually fail.
And
all right,
the
here we go
world is
again.
watching this, just so you know, like that was you could have edited that out.
Oh yeah.
You did not edit that out.
I didn't. No, I left it in and I made fun of myself. I thought it was the most appropriate thing to do, to be like, yep, you know, it's not a perfect environment right now. I mean, I went the wrong way twice already in this video, so.
And I can't stop thinking about Thomas, the that TV show, the Thomas the Tank Engine, and
oh yeah
the little figures, because that's probably as far as I've ever seen trains on TV or my exposure to trains. So from like the train community, do you think it's something that's well loved or indifferent, or, I mean, it's a weird question, but at the same time, it's like, do you feel the impulse to actually put like faces on any trains because of that? Because I feel like I would want to.
I'll be honest with you, what got me interested in trains was Thomas and Trains, but it wasn't the computer animated ones. It was the original models, because they were models, they were toys. I always liked the idea of the fact that they built these little scenes, there's bridges, and everything. So there was like a craftsmanship.
It was real.
It was real. And when a train derailed. When trains fell in water, they fell in water. Like, these were not computer animated things that don't really have a depth to them, right? So for me, I think I have a fond memory of the Trains with a Face, even though the face kind of creeped me out. And I don't think I could ever play with a Train with a Face. I don't know, unless I'm playing truly with a... Well, it's also, and this I'm going to be a bit snobby, and I'm very sorry for any British viewer seeing this. I'm not really fond of the really tiny British freight cars that Thomas pulls. To me, they're a little bit too tiny. I like things like you're seeing on the screen right now with bogies with two wheels at each end. I like that big, beefy freight car kind of thing, right?
Well, everyone, leave your comments in the comment section.
Yeah, seriously. Leave your hate comments and tell me how terrible I am. But I do enjoy the show, and I would not enjoy playing with little freight cars so tiny. And I think you would need something you can probably get away with. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen a British layout. It'd be about 1/3 the size of this kind of thing, right? Here I'm being a little bit deep, so I just park the train and I'm just kind of pondering and uncouple it. So what I do is that I prep the couple ahead of time, so then I can just go drop it off without having to do any work. But then the train just sits here, and it's kind of a bit of a dramatic pause. I don't know if dramatic pause is the right word, but I'm trying to be...
No, dramatic. It's dramatic pause, because it definitely is longer than the other ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And wait until we actually... So this pause is intentional. And I know it sounds weird to say this, but I feel privileged that I can do what I'm doing right now with you, and the fact that I can do trains. I live in a world or in a country where my biggest worry is what paint color I'm going to paint the road that I'm planning on building next. Like, I don't have real worries. I'm not worried about being bombed. I have food in the fridge. There's a roof over my head. There's safety in my streets. You know, the very fact that I can put a video together like this, and this is my worry of today, makes me feel privileged. And I thought it was important for me to have this moment to acknowledge, hey, I'm doing something fun, and I have the fortune of being able to do it. And I know maybe not everybody is going to take it seriously, and maybe I sound a little bit crazy, but I think it's important to, I mean, if we're going to teach our kids to be grateful, maybe we should learn to be grateful ourselves. So that's my 5 minutes of wisdom there in regard to this.
No, well said. Well said. It's true. I mean, only because we are privileged enough can we actually do these things, and it's worth acknowledging.
Right. Here's another funny thing. I don't know if this is the scene, but I think it took like a long time for this train to reach the end. So I purposely wanted to see how long it would take. And it's one of the longest scenes ever. Like, look how slow this thing is going. Like, it's funny because sometimes what I can do is that I can have the train running and I can run upstairs, make a coffee, come back downstairs, and the train is still not even near the end. And I can actually make this go even slower because I'm crazy obsessed about slow speeds for some reason.
I Googled some glossary of, railroad terms, and I heard flange. I didn't know what a flange was. So I was looking up what that is, and the rail wheels. So now I know that. And then, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it a Sperry car? Spurry car? I don't know. It was something. It's something car used by Sperry Rail Services to look for defects in the rail. So I don't know if you ever heard about that.
I heard about this. It's a weird little car that measures like how the track behaves. I don't know much more than that, but like I guess tracks from wear and tear get damaged, and this thing would pick up on it, and then I guess you can send your crews over to fix it. Flange is very fascinating. In fact, I think the wheels in a way are kind of like a sphere that's been sliced. When you think about it, when you look at the actual flange of a wheel of a train, there's not a lot to it. Like, it's literally just rolling like a ball in between two bits of metal. So it's kind of amazing that these things are able to even function. Like, the flange in a model is 100 times bigger than what a flange in a real train is like. It's weird.
It still gets it done.
It still gets it done. Like, I'm puzzled how they can even stay on the track, to be honest with you.
So are you up for a possible little quiz there? If I ask you a question and you can tell me if you know what it is.
Sure. Let's embarrass my lack of knowledge here. So let's see what you got.
Okay. What is a blue flag stand for in the train yard?
I only learned this recently from the Landsman handbook. Apparently, when a train is in repair and somebody's in between the tracks, we put a blue flag in front of it. And that tells everybody else around it to not touch that train or not go on that track so you don't run over whoever's fixing the train.
Nice. Well done. Completely on the spot. There was no prep for that, so you totally got that 100%.
Yeah.
I think that might be... I have one more, but it's...
I'm all ears.
What's a yard goat?
Yard? I'm assuming it's not an animal that eats the grass in the yard. It might be, I don't know, a switcher that moves freight cars around the yard, for example.
Oh, yeah. A switch engine. You
look
said
at that.
You know enough.
Here I wasn't really paying attention. I crashed the tank cars into the wall.
Did you?
But it took 3 minutes, 43 seconds for that train to go from one end to the other.
That's how long it took?
And that's how long it took. So I crashed the tank cars, nobody died. You don't know it, but a bunch of pieces fell behind the layout, so that was fun. And so we're almost done now, so I'm going to go pick up the caboose, which apparently now nobody uses anymore, but I mean, they're kind of cute, right? So here I wrote, I hope I'm finding what I'm looking for. This is me digging on the floor looking for parts that fell when I crashed that car into the wall. It's kind of fun.
Sorry, I'm going to back up a little bit. Why don't they use the caboose anymore? Do you know what the reason for that?
My understanding, I don't fully understand. I guess it's a lot cheaper not to have people on it. I know that on a switching situation like this, they may use it as a switching platform, so they have a safe place to have the crew on it. So if the train is long, you can have the guy that flips the switches to a safe place to be on board. But the caboose would not be like, wouldn't have beds and it'd be just boarded up and just serve as a functional walking platform, right? But on modern trains now, you'll notice that there's no caboose at the end. They have like a little thing called a FRED, I think, flashing rear end device, and it monitors the brakes and it flashes a red light and it does all the work that a human used to do, because now it's more cost effective, so it makes sense, right? I just enjoy the way they look, and then for the nature of the game I'm playing, I can have the caboose be a safe piece where I can couple unsafe pieces so they don't go rolling down the track if their brakes don't work. So it's a bit of a gimmick for me, kind of thing, right? All right, so assembly and departure is next. So I parked the caboose in a terrible place. If I had parked it a little bit further back, I wouldn't have to go all the way back and then all the way back to it. But it adds a little bit more movement, I suppose. And so I think I ran out of all the cameras. Half the cameras were not working here. That's why the shot is so long.
Oh, that's it.
The SLR just gave up on life. The camera 4, you can see the lens is closed over there. So really only the phones are the only ones that actually kept working, which is kind of amusing.
So those black ones that were at the back, you said you smashed into, you went too far off the track, so that would have been a catastrophe, essentially.
In real life, I would probably be fired, and people might have tried it. I don't know what's in those cars for real life. I'm sure nothing pleasant, maybe oil or something.
Yeah, I would say.
The trouble is these models actually, you can set the momentum, so if you slam on the brakes, they'll still keep going forward even if you hit the stop. And then there's an emergency button, but I thought I had enough space. Apparently I didn't. And then you don't see it in the video, but they just go crashing to the wall. It's kind of funny. So the giant hand there flipped the switch, and we're going to now slowly go in and collect the caboose. And this is kind of the bittersweet part for me, because now you're almost done. Camera full fails again, turning it back on. It's the bittersweet part, because now you're done. You did all the work. You're going to pick up the caboose. In real life, you probably would do a check of the brakes and whatnot. I can't be bothered. I'm sorry. Like, I don't really have brakes to check. And sometimes I understand there's certain gimmicks that people do to make the experience longer. But when your video is already at 37 minutes, are you going to really go, quote unquote, check the brakes? So sorry for being a snob. I'm just going to couple up, give it a second, and then bust out of here. Let's see what happens.
And that's it.
That's it. You're almost done. Got my hoppers here.
I see what you mean, though. The fact that you know that the job is almost done at this point, there's this satisfying... I feel like there's this music that needs to be playing in the background to get us ready for like the end credits of a movie.
That's right. It's that we did it. The mission was a success. The aliens were defeated. The pirates were sunk. Whatever you want to call it. Like, it's that post-climax, excitement. So we're just gonna pack up and go. Our hero goes on to fulfill other adventures somewhere else. Presumably, the train leaves.
Yeah, and you're controlling everything at this point, right? The acceleration, all that.
Well, I can control, there's not a lot I can control in this case. There's the sound that comes from the engine themselves. I'm really just controlling speed and direction at this point. And sometimes I couple them up if they don't really want to couple that well. I have modified the speed settings on these engines so they don't really go too fast, even when they are going fast. Like, the engine sounds like it's busting out of here, but it's really not going anywhere that fast. I only have 8 feet of track. There's only so much you can do. And then I'm also trying to calculate, like, if you were to look at this train in real life, like, this would be actually a realistic speed. Like, if you were standing next to the track, I feel that would be as fast as it would actually go, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I'll give you that. I get a sense of that. The scale and the speed of what we're looking at seems in line with what I would imagine would happen in reality.
And this is the part I love the most, is the slowing down to a crawl. I should be able to successfully couple. I think this couple is pretty good. And coupled. Oh, apparently not. Give it a little extra nudge there. And then panoramic shot as I busted out of here. Let's see, I pulled up the sticks. I guess I didn't really couple up. Some of the couplers, despite oiling them and everything else, are not exactly the most.
I thought you had that one. I thought it was going to go because it gave that extra nudge. I would have bet on that one.
That's the problem. It depends on the coupler. Like, some of them are super buttery smooth, and other ones are just... Plus, if you don't use it that much, and I'll be able to do this summer, this set did not get a lot of use for a bunch of reasons. The couplers kind of oxidize a little, so they need a little bit of playing to get back into that smooth functional. Here we go. I'm accelerating. This is probably as fast as I'm ever able to go.
Actually, yeah, you are going a little bit faster. I can tell.
Right, and it feels like a real speed that you would see, like if you were standing at track level, I think you would feel that this would be something that would be crossing, maybe a little bit faster on a railway crossing, I suppose, but yeah, you're still in an industrial area. I don't know what the quality of the track in real life would be for these things, but also if you go too fast, then it's over too soon, kind of thing, right? Okay, we're almost out of here.
It's gonna go out. Oh, there's lights in that one. Oh, it's going right out of the shot. Nice. I wasn't sure if it was gonna make it right out, but it is.
Disappears into the dark, switching fiddle yard, as I call it, and I guess I turn off the power at some point.
There's a lot of track back there. It's heading wherever it's going.
It's enough track to hold two entire trains, actually. That's it. Well, that was fun. Thank you for time and company. Any thoughts before we end this?
You told me it was 37 minutes, and I would have said you're a liar because that felt a lot faster.
I know, you made it a lot more enjoyable. So it was actually 36 minutes and 59 seconds. So thank you for your time. And if you're ever in the mood to do something crazy like this again, please feel free to give me a holler.
Yeah, for sure. No, I had fun. Thanks.